Hi, this is Valerie with Valerie's Variety Vlog, and I've got Laura Brady here. She sings with her husband and 2 daughters on the road and gospel music, and they are at our church this week. They were actually just got done at our church. Anyway, she's graciously agreed to be with me today while I do my vlog. I haven't done the big vlog in a while, so I'm really excited about it. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about kind of a journey I had the last 25 years of my marriage, where I spent most of my time home raising my kids, and like I've shared before, I really didn't know a whole lot about what I was doing, and I took all this time learning. By the time I started figuring stuff out, now they're grown up, so I'm like, we'd really love to be able to share this with other women who are like, all right, now what do I do? So just to help them over some of the humps and just everything we have to go through. So I'm hoping I can be a blessing to you ladies, and I have her here. She's raised what? You have 4 children, 5
I have
children?
6 children.
6? Wow, that's awesome.
6.
That's great. I always wanted more, but my body just can't handle it. I was gonna say my pregnancies got better, but my births got worse, and the last one was really bad. And they were C-sections. They just got worse and worse. But
We had all 6 natural.
oh, that's
rough.
wonderful. Rough, but it's actually less dangerous to have
It is.
natural.
It is. The Lord blessed me with very good pregnancies and deliveries, never any serious issues, and I know that's a real blessing.
Yes, yeah. I had somebody who was giving me trouble about having C-section, about not having a midwife. And I think midwives are great, and I know that you have less problems with midwives, but the problems that I had with my diabetes, me and my first son would have died. So, it is what it is. God did have doctors. Anyway, today we are actually going to be talking about when I started. I wanted to raise my own kid. I wanted to be a mom. My mother was home with me. There's a few times she had to work outside the home. For the most part, my mom raised me. And and it's something I hadn't really thought about because, I was kind of irritated that I wasn't able to, get into trouble like my other friends whose parents were always gone. And I didn't understand what a blessing it was to have my mom home when I got there, and how much less I have to regret because my mother was there and, taking care of me and keeping an eye on me. So like I said, my mother was there, and I didn't really appreciate it until after my mom and my stepfather divorced after I got married. And I stopped by my stepfather's house one time. He'd remarried, and they had a computer. I'm like, we never had anything like that when I was growing up. And he looked at me and he said, well, we couldn't afford stuff like that when you were growing up because your mother had to stay home and raise you because we felt it was more important than having stuff like this. That shut me up pretty quick. But it gave me a lot to think about. I had little kids at home, and it was just one of those things that stuck in my mind, that, you can have all these doodads, or you can raise your children. And my grandma Margaret used to tell me, she said, children they're like flowers. You can raise them like flowers and tend them and love on them, or you can just let them raise themselves like little weeds. And it's a very big difference in how you tend them is how they turn out. And, just all the little things that teach you. That's why it's really important to stay around people who, wise people, especially people who get their wisdom from the Word of God. Mm-hmm. And so my stepfather one time was telling me, I was telling him something about being home. I can't even remember, but I said it just feels important. My stepfather, who always called himself a heathen. Now, I'm on the story now. My stepfather is a wonderful man. He raised me. He loves me. I love him. He called himself a heathen. And this man told me, he said, well, the Bible does say that a woman is to be a keeper at home. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that. I knew that I wanted to be home. I knew that I needed to be home. I didn't know that the Bible taught this. And so I went home and I looked up, started researching the whole issue, and I found 1 Timothy 5:14 says, I will therefore that the young woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion the adversary to speak reproachfully. This particular verse was speaking about young widows, but the principle is the same. The young women should marry and be keepers at home. And our society, we teach from the cradle up, we teach them that it's a burden, that it is unimportant, and that it is distasteful. you get words like a domestic goddess or domestic engineer. I'm a housewife. I'm a mom. And that's a beautiful, wonderful, honorable thing. And we really sell ourselves short when we buy into these things. So, I started looking more into this kind of stuff, and I want to share this with you because, as older women, it is our responsibility to share what we have learned and to help the younger women. So I'm really hoping this is a blessing. And in Titus 2:3, it says, "The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober." And that's not just without liquor, which is important, but also serious. I don't mean not have humor. Christians have a lot of fun. Some of the most fun people I know are Christians. But to be serious about life, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be blasphemed. And by the way, to their own husbands is important because society teaches you that Christianity teaches that women are a second-class citizen and that we're just like underneath all the men and like a doormat. The Bible does not teach that at all. It teaches that we are to be subject to our husbands, right, and that our husbands are to treat us with respect and love and be willing to give their lives for us. It is something that any woman who has a man like that would gladly follow him because she can trust him. You guys be trustworthy and then treat your women with respect, your wives with respect. They'll follow you anywhere. You'll earn their respect. Deuteronomy 6:6 says, "And all these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently to thy children, and shall talk about them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest in the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And when thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and upon the frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house, and upon the gates." Now, we are to teach our children. Mostly, we're to teach them the Word of God in everything that we do. When we rise up in the morning, when we go to bed at night, when we walk in the way with them, as it's saying, we are to not only teach them. I'm a big, strong believer in homeschooling. I believe it's our responsibility to teach our children, and we do that in everything that we do. And whether or not if you can't do that, put good Christian school, but from the cradle up, we teach them, and it is what we do. And if we are not there to do that, I wanted my children to have our values instilled in them. When you hand them over to somebody else, they instill. I don't want the public schools' values in my kids. I don't want the state's values in my kids. I don't want television's values in my kids. I want them to learn our values. And it's people are constantly criticizing pushing your religion on kids. Mm-hmm. Don't push your religion on kids, but really, honestly. And I've heard this, and it's very true. There's only two reasons why people do not share their faith with their children. One of them is because they haven't found a faith worth sharing. Right. It's just not that important. The other reason is they don't care about their kids. So, whatever it is, you really need to take a serious look if you think that this is a bad idea. Find out why you aren't sharing your faith with your kids. If it's not that important, maybe you need to go back to your Bible and find out the truth, because maybe you don't know it. And the other issue, there's so much I can do to help you, just cry out to God. But this is it's one of those sober issues that the Bible is talking about, because there is nothing more important than these young people. And you can see what it's done to our society. You can see where these young people are. And so we're going to talk today about the second income. My stepmother always told me, both people have to work. She's a good woman, awesome woman. Always been there for me. But she said both parents have to work to support a household. And it's not true. I mean, work outside the home, because everybody knows a housewife works. But it's not necessarily true. There are other ways. And yes, the times have changed, but not as much as people tell you. And I always was being told, you are so lucky that you can afford to stay home. I couldn't afford to stay home. My husband made a small income. We just did it because we knew it was important. So I'm going to share with you, I found a woman who was so amazing that she let me use her as a guinea pig for this cost analysis. And what this is, and I got the idea from a lady named Amy Decision. She used to write the Tightwad Gazette, and she showed this analysis of how much you really make after everything you have to pay for to work outside the home. So we're just going to go through this, hopefully quickly. Now, this woman, when she sent me her pay, I was a little shocked, and I thought, this is not going to work very well. This woman makes a lot of money. And not only that, what she spends, she's very frugal with her money. It's a very impressive woman. And just her character in itself is very impressive. I just love this woman. But, so we're going to start. Her gross pay, and the gross pay is, before your taxes and all that. Her gross pay was $2,848 every 2 weeks, which is $5,696 a month, $1,424 a week, or $35.60 an hour. So I'm just sitting there thinking, I got my work cut out for me. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The net pay, after the taxes, the FICA, the Social Security, it came out to, she gets $1,965 every 2 weeks, which is $3,930 a month, or $982.50 a week, which breaks down to $24.56 an hour. All right, now that's still, that's taken a lot, but it's still a pretty good chunk. So, but this is what she has to pay to work outside the home. These are things that she would not have to do if she was a housewife. So we got the weekly take-home pay, the $982.50. We're looking at the weekly right now. Lunches out for her family. So for her and her husband and their children, when they eat out, now sometimes her children take sack lunches, so we're not counting that. But the eating out, the lunch tickets, the restaurants, fast food, whatever, they ate, she says it's $40 a week. Okay? Now the national average, and this is a few years ago, the averages I looked up are kind of like all over the board, but they were all after 2000. But the average was ranging anywhere from $40 a week to $106 a week, and that's just for a couple. That's not for the children. That's just for a couple. Now, next thing we were looking at was the daycare. She has one child in daycare, and that's costing her $87 a week. Now, that's actually really good because the national average is about $196 a week. And the average cost of just an after-school babysitter is $214 a week. So I'm going to look at a second car. Now, when your kids were little, you guys have two cars, or?
Occasionally we
Occasionally,
did.
yeah.
Occasionally we did.
We tried to. Every time, we're going to finally have two cars. No, we got a second car because God knew our car was going to die. Literally, one time we went to go pick up some car somebody was giving us, and as we're going to pull up the driveway, the car went putt, putt, putt to the place we were picking up the other car. We're like,
Wow.
oh,
Wow.
that's why. Yeah, so that's just, just how it is. So, but you don't have to have a second car. You drop your husband off at work. And pick him up, or, first comes to worst, stay home for 8 hours. It's not that big a deal. So, car insurance for the second car is costing this woman $25 a week. Car payment for a second car is costing her $116.25 per week. The average second car payment is $119.75 a week. Now, gas going to and from work for this woman is $25 a week. Now, when you stay home, you can cook from scratch, which is hard. You can cook from scratch when you're working outside the home, but really, nobody wants to do that. You're exhausted, you're tired, and you want to have some time to sit and relax and be around your family. So you buy a lot of stuff you normally wouldn't buy if you were home. Convenience foods, boxed, canned, or whatever. Frozen. So I looked at her grocery bill, and I figured she could probably carve about $50 a week off of it. Now I got to say, she was doing a phenomenal job because she pays about $100 a week for groceries. Okay, and the national average, USDA estimates, not national average, the estimates for the USDA, a family of four to spend between 146 on the thrifty side and $289 a week on the extravagant side.
Right.
So, and she's spending $100 a week, and she's working full time. So that was extremely impressive, but I believe she could still cut that in half. So I wrote down $50 extra a week that she's spending that she doesn't have to. Next thing was work clothes budget. Again, she is really fortunate in that she has a uniform. And people don't really think about that. Oh, I hate my uniform. You have no idea how much money you're saving there. Because she spends, she only has to buy shoes and socks. The rest of her uniform is provided. And that's costing her $1.63 a week. Very fortunate. But usually when you have to buy clothes for work, it's not unreasonable to have like $1,200 a year, and that is $25 a week. So, but she got a really good there. Now her car upkeep is, for the second car, is $12.30 a week. And then, we're talking about like oil, tune-ups, stuff like that, all the extra stuff, the upkeep. The average for that is about $20 a week for most people for the second car. Yeah, for the first car too. Anyway, so that's pretty much all we could find. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And we've got the weekly take home was $982.50 or $24.56 an hour. So we've got the lunches out, $40 a week, daycare, $87 a week, car insurance for car number 2, $25 a week, car payment for car number 2, $116.25. Car upkeep for car number 2, $12.30. Gas for job number 2, $25. Extra food, $50 a week. Work clothes, $1.63 a week. Now, that comes to the actual weekly pay comes down to $629.32 a week, or $15.73 an hour. Now, while this is still a good amount of money to be making, $15.73 take home, when you understand that when this woman went in and they hired her, they told her they were going to be paying her, well, let's take a look at it. We got the gross monthly pay, $5,696. Net pay, $3,930. Actual pay, $2,517.28 from $5,696. Big difference. Weekly, she was getting $1,424. Down the net pay was to $982.50. Actual pay $629.32. Hourly, hourly it breaks down to gross pay $35.60. Net pay $24.56. Actual pay $15.73 from $35 an hour. When that breaks down to is this woman is paying $20 an hour to be away from her children. Mm-hmm. And this is something that she said her and her husband had talked about if they could do it. Now, like I said, $15.33 is still a pretty good chunk of change to bring home, right. But it is not what she signed up for.
Right.
And it's probably just really not worth it. And it's something that we really need to look at, really need to sit down with a real analysis and figure out what we are really getting paid and if it's worth it. And something I'm going to be looking at in the future is things that we can do at home to actually make money. Like she gives an example, this Amy Decision, she gives an example, and I will, in the link below, I'll have a link to what she's doing now. She's now a grandmother, but I learned so much from a book. She had a book called The Complete Tightwad Gazette. She had these newsletters, and I really want to get the book. And one of the things we're going to be looking at in the future was she had a chart, and we'll try and pick up the book, talking about how to make money. She gave an example of while her husband was out running errands, there was a sale on peanut butter, and it was like $1 a jar, and so he went and picked up a case. So she was talking about how much money that saved for each one and how long it took. And what she did was she figured how much he was making an hour doing that.
Right.
And just because now he's retired too. She made so much money saving money that now he was able to retire early. And anyway, so I'm hoping that gave you ladies something to really consider and pray about. Basically, that's what I want to say, and I just wanted to, because the whole area here is what we're supposed to be doing, what God wants us to do, not just how we feel about things. So I was going to have Mrs. Brady read the Proverbs 31, which is Solomon's mother, most likely Solomon's mother, telling him about what a good woman is, what to look for in a woman. And granted, most of us probably about break our necks trying to do this, but it's not. It's a wonderful guideline, and I just want to share that with you real quick before we go on. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Proverbs 31 and starting verse 10. Who could find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies? The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She's like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the Let me read that again. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looked well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
One of the reasons I wanted to read that is because that pretty much of everything we've had shoved down our throat from feminism when we were growing up, that speaks completely opposite of it. It shows the importance of what we do. It shows the respect that our family has for us, and that we're not wasting our time, and we don't carry our brains around in our purses, and all of those things that feminism has taught a lot of us ladies. And it's like the feminine versus feminism. Right. Anyway, I just want to share that with you guys, and thank you for being on here and sharing this with us.
My privilege.
And next we're going to have, she was showing me around later, in a later episode, we're going to graciously allowed me to, we're going to videotape a tour around her camper. They got an RV, and she's been redecorating because she didn't like the colors, so she has been shopping sales and just picking up things here and there, and she's on the cheap decorating, and it's beautiful. And I just was so excited I didn't think she would let me videotape it, but she did. I was absolutely shocked. I would love to videotape. She said, oh yeah, I'm like, seriously? So we're gonna go do that another time, and looking really forward to that. But right now she's this little curtain thing that she had over the kitchen sink, and or by the kitchen sink, and she was telling me how to do it, and I said, could you do that on my show? So we're going to do that next, so we'll be right back. Hi, this is Valerie, and this is Laura, and she is going to show us these cute little curtains that she had. She got some cloth that her daughter brought to let her use, and she just took it with some rubber bands, and it was just cute, and you're just going to have to watch. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm all about as simple and inexpensive as possible, because I've never really had a budget for decorating. So I always had to just use whatever was around the house. So One time I needed a valance for something, and I just played with it till I came up with this idea. And since then, I've used it on a whole lot of things. So I have this little kitchen window, which we're going to do a tour in my motorhome after later.
Another episode.
And you'll see the little no-sew, which you ladies will love us, no-sew curtain. It's actually a valance. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I've got, there's approximately 1.5 yards here. This is about 1 yard material. So you can either make it as full or thin as you like it. So this is very easy to vary. So all you do, lay your material out, take your hand and bunch it up all the way across, get it all bunched up. And then the other night I was doing this in our motorhome. My little girl walked by and I said, let me have your ponytails. I took them right out of her hair. And so you do this, because what you're going to do is, this is going to determine, you can put as much or as little there as you want, because this is going to be a rosette, which I'm going to show you super, super easy, okay? Now, I can already see that I need to scoot down a little bit. Not a problem. So what I'm going to do, look at this. Just move it down a little bit to about right there. We'll put these band back on here. And there we go. Okay, now, do the same thing on the other side. Let's bunch it right up like that. Fold it over. And this does not have to be perfect, because it's one of those easy to move around kind of things. So you only put it around there twice so you have plenty of room if you use a ponytail holder. If you use a rubber band, however much space you need. Okay, now, if you don't have a curtain rod, which many times, because I had 6 kids and didn't really have the money to go buy any, there are many times I didn't have a curtain rod either. So these kind of things came in super handy. So while I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking this over, and I know that this is going to be the top part. And if you want that more straight, what you do is you just pull more of it out down here. Okay, like that. You can still adjust your amount of material that you have out here for your rosette in case you want a little bit bigger one. So I'm going to make it about like that. Now, I've got 2 thumbtacks on the wall. Those are because we don't have a curtain rod.
Or a window.
And no problem, no problem. So what I do is you can take the part of the rubber band, actually hook it onto the thumbtack. See, we still have no curtain rod, but it's working. And then you have it there. So you can adjust this however you want it. Now, if you want that tightened at the top, slip it off of there, pull it just a little bit more, like that, and it'll straighten it out.
Pastor's
Put it
wife
right
came to my
back
house
on.
one time and I had sticks when we first moved in. I didn't have curtain rods. So I did something I did when we were first married. I went and got some big nails and I got some sticks from my neighbor's yard, knocked on her door. She spoke hardly any English. And I'm trying to explain to her, can I have your sticks? Because she's like, they're out in the yard to be thrown away, by the garbage. And she's like, yeah, give me this odd look. She's like, I love that. I'm like, I couldn't afford a curtain rod. And she just thought they were
Well, there's
great.
many times I just didn't have the extra money to go get a curtain rod or something.
Yeah,
And
you just do what you gotta do,
I've
man.
used screws, nails, whatever worked, but you don't want anybody to see that you've done that. So, and sometimes you can wrap your rubber band around it a couple times. Now, here's where the rosette comes in, because you're going to do all your little minor stuff later. Just this little bunch here. You can even take it down and do this. Sometimes it's easier just to do that way. And you pull it apart like that. Okay? Then you just put I think our little thumbtack keeps coming out of the wall here, but
Yeah.
things like that happen when you're decorating I think I'm the original design on a diamond. I'm just going to hold it, because the important thing is for you to see this.
Yeah, I can hold it up
Okay.
if you want, so
Yeah,
that you
hold
can.
this.
I'll go ahead and hold
You
it
come
up.
over here on the
And
side.
you do your thing.
All right. Okay, you hold this, and then you just kind of pull this around like this,
Oh, we got this part.
like this. And you can move it around and adjust it to where it comes into a little rosette, and you can bunch it up. And if you want it bigger, you can do that. Then you do the same thing on this side. You just pull this apart like this. Super, super simple. And you can find material for $1 yard places and things like that.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
here's some optional things you can do. You may not want that tail down, or you might want it just like that. Or you might want to pull it up. However, if you do have a curtain rod, this does hang better, but you can figure it out. Now, in the one in my motorhome, I had a little bit more material left, and it was about this big. So what I did was I cut it and had a square, and then I just took it kind of like this at the side, and I stuck this part up through the material, and when I
Through the rubber band?
pulled it through, right through the rubber band, and it just kind of hung like that. So this is a no-sew, and you can do it however you want to. So you can use
That's
two
awesome.
different colors of material to match. Just all kinds of easy stuff. But there's an idea for you for a no-sew balance.
All right. Thank you very much. And you guys have a great week. You know, God bless. And because I hope you take away some of this and meditate on it. And, you know, most of all, just seek what the Lord wants you to do with your life and for your family. And anyway, God bless.